Now, what brings you out tonight? I mean, I'd be home when it's warm and, feet up and watching TV, but, you're here. I don't know. Oh, you got it one up.
That's it.
So is my last one. Tomorrow is my Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 or 3. I know. What is that doing? I think your mama sitting up there.
I think we've been sharing this mic for some reason. I think the mayor. Make it work.
Oh, yeah.
He got some good football news just a little while ago. One of our defensive tackles come back from super senior season, did not go pro, not go to
Yeah.
Amari Tom. Got that extra year. They're thinking he's coming in and out. You get him back, you get the serve.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all here this evening for what you're here for the main event, the city council meeting. Before we do that, we do have one public hearing this evening, which I will read and go through. Public hearing number 1, public hearing on ordinance number 4484, an ordinance for the abandonment of a right-of-way being a portion of property off of Windy Boulevard between lots 20A and 21A, and authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver a quitclaim deed to the property owner. This is Ward 5, public hearing number 1. Anyone in the audience this evening wish to be heard on public hearing number 1? Seeing none, any member of council wish to be heard on public hearing number 1? Hearing none, entertain a motion to close public hearing number 1.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Public hearing number 1 is now closed. Now I would like to welcome everyone for the main event, the formal voting city council meeting tonight for December 14th, 2023. I would like to welcome all of you in the audience who are here this evening. Thank you for being here, for your presence. We're excited to have you here for what should be an exciting meeting. And also would like to say a special welcome to all of those watching on video for this, our last meeting of the calendar year. With that, we will now go into our meeting, beginning with the roll call. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Green? Here. Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Here.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Here.
Mayor Mulder?
Here, let the record reflect all members of council are present. Now, we have the invocation to be led by Henry Mobley of the Pentecostal Church of Jesus Christ. Mr. Mobley, I believe, is here present. If you will come forward to the podium, and I would ask all of you to please stand as you are able for tonight's invocation. And as you are standing, I would ask for you to please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which I am going to be asked to be led by former Mayor Dean Dickey to lead the Pledge of Allegiance after the invocation. Thank you.
Let me thank you for the invitation to be here and pray tonight. I've been in ministry over 50 years. I've never written a prayer, so just let me pray from my heart here tonight. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What an awesome prayer to pray the will of God to be done on earth as it is in heaven. We give you thanks tonight that we have the freedom, we have the liberty. We are able here together, we're able to pray, we're able to lift up our great God without fear. We give you praise for all the goodness of the Lord. We pray the blessings of God upon this council meeting here this evening. Our elected officials, let them walk with the truth and the spirit, we pray tonight. God, as we pray to you, there's never been a time in American history that we didn't need to pray. From Valley Forge to New Orleans to Gettysburg to Havana to Argonne Forest to the Battle of the Bulge, Pork Chop Hill has sent men and women to their knees praying for their sons, mothers praying for their boys, wives praying for their husbands, for their safety and their security. And yet, God, tonight, after all these many years, prayer is vital. We've lived to see a day in which they call evil good and they call good evil. We pray, Lord, your word said, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. We're asking for wisdom tonight for this council, for each guest that's here this evening. Let wisdom be ubiquitous. Let it spread in our hearts. These are not decisions that are made lightly. Whatever the business is here this evening, let it be led by the Spirit of God. Let your Spirit rest upon each of those that are here tonight, and we'll give you praise and honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Mr. Mobley and Mayor Dickey. All right, we're on the agenda now. Item 4, approval of agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved, as is the agenda. Next, item 5, presentations. I have a couple of really exciting presentations. We actually have 3, not that Will Evans' presentation won't also be exciting, but 2 really exciting presentations before that. Beginning with item 5.1, resolution number 23102, a resolution dedicating the championship field located in Ridley Sports Complex in honor of the former City of Columbia Mayor Dean Dickey. And if you heard earlier, former Mayor Dickey and his family are here tonight. We're so excited to have them here. I noticed there were a couple that walked in after 5:30, which I think that must be the McBroom side that's showing in after 5:30, not on the other side. But we're excited to have the family here this evening, and we'll have an opportunity to have some comments on the floor. But for now, we'll call up item 5.1 for approval.
Move to approve.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 5.1, a resolution dedicating the championship field located in Ridley Sports Complex in honor of the former City of Columbia Mayor Dean Dickey is hereby approved. I would now like to ask members of council to join me in the well, along with members of Mayor Dickey's family, as well as Mayor Dickey himself, for a presentation. All right. Well, this is really exciting. I don't know how long, if this has been able to be a secret, but I do know that we have tried to keep it slightly a secret.
You've done a good job.
Good. Whether or not others get in trouble for the secret later or not, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to give a pardon to that. But we did try to keep it a secret.
Mayor, I would have to say this. They kept it such a secret that 2 cars came to bring us down here tonight.
All right. Well, I'd say that's a good thing. And I'll tell you what, we're so excited to see all these young people that you have here to support you tonight.
Yeah,
as well.
we got 8 of those somewhere.
That is right. Well, good deal. Well, I have a resolution that I would like to read. Before I read the resolution, I know that maybe there are a couple members of council that might like to say something, I think beginning with the Vice Mayor, who some of these people may already know.
Thank you, Mayor. As y'all know, the history that I have, that Mayor Dickey gave me on my first architectural review. Then he put me on the planning commission. And he always said, after that, he goes, if you ever want to do anything, everybody needs to run for office. So I took him up on it. But one thing real quick, though, he is a rock star. As y'all notice, everybody congregates around him and pays their respect. That shows you what impact he has had. But the biggest thing that I come away with all this is he's still a link to the past. The foundation that he set is what this city is growing on right now. The decisions he made years ago at his grocery store, as a council member, and as the mayor, has really set this city up straight ahead. I'd like to thank my family, as y'all can see all of them here, and Mayor Dickey's family for being here, and I appreciate it, and this is a great night for him. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Lord.
Any other member of council wish to be heard in this matter?
My only thoughts are the same as Randy's. Just my only thoughts are the same because this man was kind to my husband. He was kind to us, and he's a man of character and strength. And we just love seeing you everywhere you are around this town.
Thank you very much.
I know that Vice Mayor mentioned this, but I think it's worth saying, Mayor Dickey, as I have the opportunity to speak to groups across the community and beyond, I always say that Columbia was very fortunate to have had leadership over the last 30 years to sort of position Columbia for the current moment that we're in. And that our obligation as a council is to make sure that Columbia is equally well positioned so that 30 years from now, mayors and vice mayors and members of council can say that they were equally as well positioned. And so I think for the positioning that has been provided, thanks to your leadership over the years, we all owe a debt of gratitude to you for your service. I do have the resolution that I would like to read. And there will be formal signage that will come later once the weather gets a little nicer. But the resolution reads, whereas former Mayor Dean Dickey was born on August 30, 1933, and was in the retail food industry for 48 years, 27 of those as owner and operator of 7 supermarkets in the Middle Tennessee area from 1973 to 1997. Whereas he is a proud graduate of Campbellsville High School, served in the United States Army during the Korean conflict, an honorable discharge, and was instrumental in establishing the Tennessee Grocers Association. Mayor Dickey stayed active in our community by being a strong leader of various organizations, including the Chamber of Commerce, United Way, American Red Cross, and Kiwanis Club of Columbia, while also serving as a City of Columbia council member for Ward 4 until elected mayor of the City of Columbia in 2010 until 2018. Whereas Mayor Dickey loves his family, we can see here tonight, and spending time with them. What do they call you, Mayor? What is it? What do they call? Pete. All right, Pete. We didn't put that in here, but maybe we need to. He is married to his wife, Joanne, with 2 children, Debbie and Mike, has many grandchildren and even great-grandchildren. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Columbia that the city hereby does wish to honor the former Mayor Dean Dickey by dedicating the championship field located in Ridley Sports Complex in his honor, passed and adopted by the City Council of the City of Columbia on this, the 14th day of December. Mayor Dickey.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Do you want to take a quick photo, Kelly?
Leslie, I think we ought to bring Holland Friday up here.
Oh, come on now. See? Good call.
Okay, 6 miles, here we go. 2, 3.
Mayor, we'll give you the last word.
Well, Chaz, it was a secret. Y'all did good because I felt like, and I told Joanne this, she said, what's going to happen? I said, I have no idea. I've already received almost everything that they give me free, so I take it. But anyway, I appreciate the leadership with Mr. Massey and you doing this, and council approving it. And we think back on Ridley Park and Mac. But man, it was tough. It had come to a standstill in 2010. Matter of fact, it was almost like the city bought a shoebox, and there was no way out except the top. They didn't have any interest rates and this kind of thing. So, but anyway, with council help, we moved that on, and today we know what it is. Mac knows it better than anybody, and he's done a good job with that. We appreciate that. The city of Columbia, I'd like to say that we're through growing, but we're only beginning. And I noticed we all had another announcement from the state economic development today, and as long as we keep creating jobs, we're going to have people to come and fill those jobs. And we just need more retail. We got to have more retail. But I enjoyed my 10 years on the council, and I would like to say I enjoyed 2 years as a council member for Ward 4, but and I don't have anybody to back this up, but it was really tough. Meetings at 11 and 12 o'clock at night, and even the moderator would sleep. But we had some good years, and of course, Mr. Massey came along, and Connie, and he kind of pushed us to do a little more and do it better and this kind of thing, and with all the experience that he had. I'd say this, I hadn't said it publicly, but Tony gave me about 10 or 12 names for references, and they all checked out so good, I thought, well, I'll just go further with this. So I called some folks who had connections in other places, and well, about 70 people, and nobody said anything rough about Tony. Tony Massey is a good guy. He's homegrown, and we'll continue to blossom under his leadership. And we would expect no else to do. But anyway, just make it short. We don't want another one of those 3-hour meetings.
Don't worry.
You got the gavel. But we thank all of you for being here. We appreciate Ty and Mac and Jeff and Jeremy. I call these guys by their first name. You know, the chief and that kind of stuff is okay. They know that better than anybody. But so I just appreciate all the city employees do. Every day, Jeff. Where is Jeff? Right there he is. But every Thursday when my garbage is picked up, I appreciate that. But anyway, thanks for being here. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Above all, be safe. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to have all the department heads come up so we can get a picture with Mayor Dickey. That won't bother you, will it?
No.
Get all the
See if I can get my family here before we leave.
Okay, hey, guys.
Nathan, get everybody back here. Thank you, Mayor. Let me get behind you guys.
No, y'all.
Come on, boys. What you got?
I'm gonna have to suck it in.
Thank you.
We, could we have Holland?
Bring that baby right here by me. I'll take that baby. There we go.
This is Holland Clare. She's 2.5 months old, and she's already looking around, probably going to be a political candidate at some point. Deb,
They don't.
I don't want to be in another photo.
Y'all are great.
All right.
1, 2, 3, big smile.
I think we got you goat tonight. I think we got you goat.
you did.
That's what we meant
Mayor,
to do.
congrats.
Good to see you always. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, sir.
Take care.
All right.
Mayor,
Thank you,
congrats.
brother.
Well deserved.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, we have the same birthday. I didn't realize that. We both share August 30th.
You're kidding.
It's a good day.
I
It's a good day.
always thought I was the only one born.
I know, me too.
I
I
ain't
was always
shaking your
here.
hand. I ain't shaking your hand.
Yeah, that's he's alive.
Huh?
I said we really do.
I still remember our walk.
Yeah. That was fun, man.
Yes. You need help getting out there?
No, I just
You got my number, you're supposed to call me something wrong, remember?
okay. Well, thanks, man.
I'll talk this.
Okay, we are back on the agenda now. Item 5.2, resolution number 2394, a resolution accepting a donation of a freestanding clock from the Columbia Noon Rotary Club to the City of Columbia Parks and Recreation Department, valued at approximately $20,000, commemorating the club's 100th birthday. Item 5.2.
Move for approval.
Motion's been made, properly seconded. Just for a couple points of discussion, I know that we have a couple of members of Noon Rotary here, so we would like to vote on that item and then also meet you in the well for a photo presentation. But I just want to say thank you to the Noon Rotary Club, constantly adding value to the city of Columbia, whether it be through volunteer work or other public opportunities, or providing beautification to our parks, all the while commemorating some of its own history. Thanks to the city manager also for getting the sort of the rendering of that clock provided to us as a part of the report. I think it looks very nice and will be a nice addition when it's installed. And so again, I just say to Rotary, thank you so much for your many contributions to our community. Please express our gratitude to your club. We look forward to voting on this and then having a photo, but also we look forward to the installation, recognizing that while it's providing some beautification to our park, it's also commemorating a very important club and its history in our community. Any further discussion on item 5.2? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green. Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom. Mayor Mulder.
Aye. Item 5.2 is approved. If members of the Noon Rotary Club would meet me in the well along with council for a brief photo presentation. Y'all got your Rotary Party tonight, right?
Yeah. Man.
Sorry, I need to give you the boot rub.
I didn't either.
It's funny.
Can you see us? I know we have a number of members of Rotary present. I know there's also apparently some party that the Rotary's having tonight, so we wanted to accommodate that. But would anyone like to offer any words?
I'll let Gerald.
I did want to say that I've been happy to be a member of this club, working on my 10th year, which is approximately 10% of the time that this club's been in this community. I feel like we do a lot for this community and have in the past, and I look forward to being a part of the second 100 years in this community.
Thank you.
Behave yourself out there.
You know, you could say you don't have to go to the party.
All right, now we have our third, last but not least presentation of the evening, quarterly presentation by Will Evans, President of the Murray County Chamber and Economic Alliance. Item 5.3, Mr. Evans, I see you here tonight. Come on forward, and we look forward to your report.
Do I get a picture when this is over as well? I'm not going to put you guys.
You don't want a photo of us.
Happy to be here. You guys do have your presentation. Our presentation included, if you want to go ahead and go past the title slide, you will see our economic development dashboard for the month of December. Won't get into many details on here. The unemployment rate, all of that kind of is staying steady to where it has over the last year. But I will talk again about our active project pipeline. It still remains strong with about 22 projects. And I talked a little bit about this in October when I was here about our strike zone exercise that we went through last year and how we've been implementing that this year. But as we are wrapping up the end of the year, we have some numbers to kind of help illustrate how we have effectively been putting that into place. So on a typical year, over the past few years, we received about 150 requests from our stakeholders or from the community. It's down slightly this year to about 100, but still a lot of activity out there. Over the typical years, we would respond to about 100 of those 150 RFPs based on what those are out there. However, this year, with our new strike zone and protocol in place, we've responded to approximately 25 or 30 of those RFPs that have come through. So again, taking into account, are these projects diversified? Are these high wages? Are these responsible uses of the property that we have? So we are proactively continuing to make sure that we are promoting the right type of job growth for Murray County and the city of Columbia. And as former Mayor Dickey mentioned, going to the next slide, we did have an announcement yesterday. So it's not in the city of Columbia, but in the county of Murray. So we like to promote the county as a whole, and I think many of the city residents will benefit from this announcement as well. So Exentria Technologies has announced that they will be building a new manufacturing facility in Cherry Glen Industrial Park in Mount Pleasant. So they're one of the leading manufacturers of metal composite materials in the world, used in the solar, transportation, and various architectural applications. The project here will be supporting the transportation industry. They'll be making composite panels for semi-trucks and tractor trailers. So if you go down the road and you see those panels on the boxes of the trucks, they will make those. So it's a metal-driven project with composite on the surface of that. They will be building a new facility on 35 acres in Cherry Glen, investing about $45 million of capital investment and creating 85 new jobs. So again, this is right within that new strike zone. It's a diversified industry. While it is transportation, which is broader where auto manufacturing falls in, this is not passenger automobile or a direct auto industry. And these are very high quality jobs above the average wages that we've seen for many of our projects over the last few years. So we're excited to have that out in the community and in the year on a high note. Moving to the next slide, I always like to at least one presentation to you all year, talk a little bit Chamber of Commerce side of our organization. So what you have here is our current 2023 Chamber membership. What you're showing is the purple bars are 2023 numbers compared to the gray bars, which are 2022 numbers. We began this year at 599 members. Currently, at the end of November, we have 636 active members, and that's a net number. So, we'll have some drop and some new. We have over, I believe, 120 new members that have joined for the year. So that's about a 6% growth, which is if you look at the average, it's about 3 to 5. Last year, we had a very strong year with about 11% growth, so we're still trending in a very positive direction there. So that's, again, indicative of the environment here, the business environment, and many of those are new businesses located here in the city of Columbia. And going to the next slide, our membership definitely likes to support local in our organization. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our Local First gift card campaign. So to date, first of all, this gift card is you can come to our building and purchase either a $10 or a $25 card that can be used at over 60 retailers in the county. These retailers must be members of the organization in order to take advantage of this. When you expend that at their store, you get $25 worth of goods or services. They bring it back to us. They keep virtually all of that. I believe we keep 50 cents of a $10 card and $1 of a $25 card to help offset the cost of promoting and actually creating the cards. This year to date, we've sold $47,000 or distributed $47,000 into the community. But to talk a little bit about the last few weeks, we ran a promo. I believe it was the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, and in 2 days we sold over $30,000 worth of those cards to the community. So really around the holiday time, injecting these cards in the community. In fact, this week I was just talking to our staff up front. We've conservative estimates. We pulled these numbers Monday. We've sold an additional about $6,000 to $7,000 cards worth of cards in the last few days. So this program has taken off over the last few years, and we're excited to continue to enhance it and promote shopping local within the community. And the last couple of items as we go to the next slide, these are more organizational-wide programs that we have going on. We did a little teaser of this around Small Business Saturday. Size Up Murray as a new software platform that we will be launching at the beginning of 2024. It's really 3 platforms. 2 of them, the Small Business Advisor is really geared for somebody who's either starting a business, trying to plan it, either start it, manage it, or grow it. It's just a library of resources, very complementary to what the TSBDC offers and offers out of our office many days a week. And then there's also going to be a Shop Local platform, which is an interactive map that provides locally owned businesses. So if somebody's looking for a certain type of business, they can see the locally owned businesses that are there. But the exciting one is called Size Up Local Business Intelligence. So this is where a business can go in at any time of the day. Being an entrepreneur typically is busy during the typical times when the TSBDC may be available, so they could get on at 1 a.m. and utilize this program. They can enter the various data points of their business and easily benchmark their performance against other businesses in that sector within Murray County, within the state, and within the U.S. So they can see how they're performing. They can look at sales. They can look at average salaries for positions, things like that. They can also use interactive maps to discover potentially new customers and new suppliers that they can help do business with. They can use the platform to optimize their advertising, their social media advertising, and then they can use the demographic pieces of the program to analyze and identify the best location to potentially locate or open up a second operation. So we're excited to launch this, anticipate more over the next few weeks, and I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd week of January, we're going to have a virtual launch event where we'll be putting this out and really training people on how to utilize this in the community. And then finally, I'll end with our save the date for our upcoming annual meeting. It will be on January 30th, and we will actually be holding it at the Memorial Building this year. So please watch for details for that to come as we wrap up the year and begin the new. So with that, I'll stop and take any questions.
All right. Any questions for Will Evans? Mr. Coleman?
Will, it's good to see you again. first of all, thank you for everything that you put together here. I'm very excited to hear about the platform that you talked about, the TSPDC, Old Employer. First question was, are you guys considering, was there any thoughts, I guess, from what you guys do for us around affordable housing? And well, obviously the cost of living has increased in Murray County, making sure that there is a place for workforce to live here. Is there anything that you guys do or are involved with that has to do with our outlook there or anything along those lines?
It is on our radar slightly. There's really not much in the purview of our organization that we can do other than kind of be the thought leader, kind of driving the conversation of the importance around it. And so, that's really the arena we would probably play in the most, and maybe identify some communities that have done some creative things to help offset that.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure it was on your radar.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Second was, as far as our cost of living as the way that it's increased over the last few years, your the presentation you have doesn't show kind of that one historically, but how has that rate gone for us, and has it been healthy, or what's it look like?
It has gone up. I don't want to quote the numbers specifically. We're currently at 97.5. I think at our lowest we were maybe at like 92, 93 back in 2014 or before. And it's kind of like a shoestring. If you pull up, as Nashville's been going up, we've been kind of coming up with it as well. So we're still an advantage or advantageally, I can't say placed in an advanced position compared to Nashville. But it has been creeping up. I think we've all been feeling that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one would just be, I know different times you've talked about the unemployment rate.
Yep.
And there's always like an optimal place for it to be. There's never 0% is not ever what we want, but where are we at now, and how does that look?
Yeah, so we're currently at about 3%. I think historically they've considered 4%, right around considered full employment, but we've been, below 4% for several years now, and that's been statewide. So it is more challenging, and we are looking at opportunities. In fact, today we hosted a seminar with Tennessee Department of Human Services talking about child care opportunities and how we can identify opportunities for employers to provide potential childcare in order to kind of grow the workforce participation rate in the county to help solve some of those problems.
Excellent. That's great to hear. That's all I had. Thank you so much, Will.
All right, good questions. Any other questions, Councilmember Wiles?
Yes, sir. Mr. Evans, will the Size Up Murray be data that's only open to members? That piece of software will be open to community people who might be writing grants, doing that kind of things? Who will have access to
that will be publicly available on our website. So it will not be just for members. It will be, it's really falls under more of our economic development initiatives and supporting the entrepreneurs that are in the community, but it will be community-wide. It will just be restricted to Murray County addresses. You can't benchmark against like other specific counties in the area.
And is that you guys are providing that, or is that the TSPDC, or is it?
No, it's actually a third-party provider that we're working with that'll be providing, but we'll be hosting it on our site.
Cool. Awesome.
Will the under the year-to-date housing permits, there's an asterisk by Spring Hill. Am I assuming correctly that must be the housing permits on the Murray County side?
So the asterisk, I believe, is referencing that we, at the time of publication, we had not received their November numbers yet, and so it was the previous months. But that is indicative of just Murray County.
That's just Murray County numbers.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then the other thing I was going to add, I know that your organization for First Fridays has been doing a few things to sort of promote that and take advantage of that, and so I've enjoyed seeing that, and hopefully it's been a little bit of a draw and something that y'all have also seen some success.
Absolutely, and we are fair weather First Fridayers, so we have taken a hiatus for the winter months and plan to bring that back around April of next year.
All right, we heard it here. April, we'll see you then. Any other questions, Mr. Evans? If not, thank you, Will, for the good report.
Thank you all.
See you soon. Okay, we're now into section 6 of the agenda, organizational business. Item 6.1, approve the minutes of the November 9, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 6.1 is approved. Next, we have item 6.2, approve the retirement benefits from Sherry Sheeter, Administrative Assistant, Police Department, and presentation of gift check and retirement plaque by Mayor Mulder. Item 6.2. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. And now I would like to invite members of council to join me in the well, along with Ms. Sheeter and perhaps anyone else who might wish to join for a presentation of her plaque and gift check.
Good, how are you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. All of it's fine.
All right. Well, I have this plaque that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to let Sherry speak if she'd like to. Put her on the spot, but we'll let you think about what you're going to say. You can introduce some of the folks who are here tonight as well, Sherry. But for now, I have this plaque, the retirement recognition presented to Sherry Sheeter, December 15th, 2023. This award is presented in appreciation for 22 years of dedicated service. Your loyalty, friendship, and professionalism will long be remembered. City of Columbia Mayor and City Council, Sherry Sheeter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I know Chief's around. He might want to say something, but we'll actually, Chief, would you like to say anything before we give Sherry the?
I'm very brief, but 22 years with the city, the last 11 with this police department. Let's just say a lot of trainings had to be done getting ready for her to leave. They've been very helpful around our place. We're gonna miss her.
It is a face that when you walk around the police department, it's a comforting face and one that you know. So
Sometimes.
it'll be sad. Well, see, he says that now, but we'll let you have the last word since he's going to say that.
No, I'll miss all my friends and family. They're a second family to me. And I've enjoyed working for the city of Columbia for 22 years.
Well, thank you for your service, and we have some family members here tonight. Anybody we need to?
This is my sister Kelly. She works at Public Works. That's her husband Reed. My brother-in-law Kevin Holt. Nephew Landon Holt. Niece Kaylee Holt. This is my mama Faith. This is my stepdad Neil Griggs. My sister Cassie, and my daddy who's retired from Fire Hall, Milton Hay.
Well, congratulations again, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, now we are on item 6.3. Item 6.3, approve the retirement benefits for Carl Shrake, police officer, police department, and presentation of gift check and retirement plaque by Mayor Mulder. That is item 6.3. I will also make the motion to approve item 6.3.
Second.
Been properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. I would now like to invite members of council to join me in the well also once more for a presentation of this along with Carl and with his family.
She wants to speak next.
Okay. You want to speak?
I'd like to say.
All right. Well, seems hard to believe.
Yes.
I tell you, Carl's one of those guys that is a face that you know when you see that when you see that face. He's with the city of Columbia. You feel a little better about your own self when you see him around. He's always a happy face. I was proud to see him on his last day.
Yeah.
Parked over in the corner. I was running behind and maybe speeding, but fortunately he gave me a pass. But in any event, Carl, I'm really honored to be able to read this plaque on behalf of all of us here and grateful for your service. So we have a plaque presented to Carl Strake effective December 17th, 2023. This award, you want to read it with me?
That's right.
You got it. Look, see, there you go. This award is presented in appreciation of 28 years of dedicated service. Your loyalty, friendship, and professionalism will long be remembered. City of Columbia, Mayor and City Council. Carl, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Pick here, I guess.
Yeah.
Got the thumbs up. She does. Chief?
Carl is retiring 28 years. That's impressive for one thing. And in law enforcement, that is no small feat. He has seen changes throughout a long time, since 1990. And he retires from us as our senior patrol officer, and he has been in every division, in every unit, motorcycle officer for years, SWAT, honor guard, crime scene detectives. He's done it all. I hear he's going to be wearing a brown uniform.
Carl, you get the last word.
I appreciate it. Appreciate everyone to come out. My wife. Oh,
Randy,
that's what it is. Yeah.
the boss.
The boss. Maybe. No. Yeah, you will throw it. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Marshall. Congratulations.
All right, now we're on item 6.4, approve the retirement benefits for Monty Bland, Fire Captain, Fire and Rescue. Item 6.4.
Move for approval.
Move to approve, properly seconded. Item 6.4, any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.5, approve the retirement benefits for Clinton Blankenship, wastewater maintenance worker. Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 6.5? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.6, approve the retirement benefits for John Williams, engineering technician, Development Services Department.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.7, approve the retirement benefits for Chad Hilton, Fire Captain, Fire and Rescue. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.8, approve the retirement benefits for Sharon Howell, accounting technician, City Recorder's Office. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.9, approve the appointment of Aaron Thomas to the City of Columbia Arts Council for a 3-year term expiring December 14th, 2026.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.10, a re-election of Ernie Allen Jr., former council member Allen Jr., to the Board of Directors of the Industrial Development Board for the Health, Educational, and Housing Facility Board for a 6-year term that began effective November 14th, 2023 and expires on November 14th, 2029.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. That item, any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next, Section 7, consent agenda. These are items that are deemed non-controversial or requiring no outside discussion and additional debate. So I will read on them together and we will vote on them collectively. First, 7.1, approved disbursements for the month of October 23 in the amount of $4,420,866.28. Item 7.2, receive and file quarterly investment report for the period ending June 30, 2023, pursuant to the city's investment and internal controls policies. Item 7.3, acceptance of the City of Columbia annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. 7.4, approved change order to the agreement with Adams Contracting LLC in the amount of $225,493.76. 7.5, approve and authorize the mayor to execute a 3-year contract extension with Cheryl Morgan in the amount of $39,500 in 2024 for employee insurance consulting. And item 7.6, approved bid award to Brinley Construction in the amount of $4,882,000 for renovations to Fire Station Number 1 located at 1000 South Garden Street, and authorize the mayor to execute any and all related documents. That is your consent agenda. It's been moved for approval, properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that consent agenda is approved. There being no items under Section 8, we move to Section 9, resolutions, beginning 9.1, a resolution number 2381 to accept the established updated occupational safety and health program plan, devise rules and regulations, and to provide for a safety director and the implementation of such program plan. 9.1.
Move for approval.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.2, Resolution 2390, a resolution accepting the donation of $1,005 from Joshua Raines of Muletown Bearded Axe for the purchase of a high expansion foam Pro Pack to be utilized by Columbia Fire and Rescue. That item has been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. I would note that we have another item on the same topic coming at item 9.8. And so at the conclusion of 9.8, I would love to have Mr. Raines and the chief of police and fire up with council for a photo to also commemorate and show our appreciation and gratitude to Muletown Bearded Axe for their very nice donations. 9.3, Resolution 2391, a resolution accepting a donation of $2,000 for the purchase of supplies for Columbia Fire and Rescue.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.4, Resolution 2392, a resolution to accept ownership and maintenance of the sanitary sewer improvement serving Drumright Phase 2.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.5, Resolution 2393, a resolution to accept ownership and maintenance of the sanitary sewer improvements serving Williamsport Landing, Single Family Phase 1. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on 9.5? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.6, Resolution 2395, a resolution authorizing the acquisition of property and easements, including the authorization of eminent domain proceedings if necessary for the Iron Bridge Road Replacement Improvements Project. It's 9.6. Been properly moved by Councilman Green, properly seconded by Councilman Marshall. Any discussion on 9.6? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.7, Resolution 2396, Tax Corrections. Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.8, Resolution 2397, a resolution accepting the donation of $1,000 from Joshua Raines of Muletown Bearded Axe for the purchase of defense shields to be utilized by the Columbia Police Department. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? 9.8. Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom? Aye. Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 9.8 is approved. Now, Mr. Raines, if you would meet members of council and myself down in the well for a photo along with Chief Cobb and Chief Alsop, please, sir. Good call. Come on in.
Come on.
And let me just say, I know that Vice Mayor McBroom and some others maybe were also had the opportunity to be at the ribbon cutting for your business located in Riverside, and it's so refreshing to see that already we have a new business in town that is wanting to give back to the community, and so we say thank you for that. And since you're here and you have the floor, I would like to allow you to say a few words maybe about your business when you're open and where folks can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. I did not know I was public speaking tonight. Yeah, Muletown Bearded Axe. We'd love to have you guys. The more we make, the more we'll donate. I donate 10% of all my income from the Bearded Axe. Once I break even on the apartments, I'll start doing the same thing. Unfortunately, I only had 6 months this year, so maybe next year will be a lot more to PD and some of the other people that we donated to this year and the fire department. But yeah, come down, throw some axes, and have a good time. We finally got our beer permit. And, yeah.
All right. You did a great job. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, now we are back on the agenda. Item 9.9, resolution number 2398, a resolution to accept the ownership and maintenance of sewer improvements serving Bear Creek Glen Phase 145, 9.9.
So moved.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Ms. Hardison? Aye. Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.10, Resolution 2399, a resolution to accept the ownership and maintenance of sewer improvements serving Bear Creek Overlook Phase 1, Ward 5.
Move for approval.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item, 9.10? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 911, Resolution 23100, a resolution to ratify the application of the fiscal year 2022 state and local cybersecurity grant program and authorize the mayor to execute documents related to accepting and administering the grant. Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 911? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 912, Resolution 23-103, a resolution ratifying the acceptance of donation valued at approximately $1,000 from Mr. and Mrs. Tony and Connie Massey to the City of Columbia for the City of Columbia Annual Employee Christmas Party. Item 912. It's been moved and properly seconded. I was going to say this later, but I'll say it some now. I thought yesterday's Christmas party was fantastic and appreciate. I think looks like Connie Massey has already departed for her Rotary party, but thank her for her efforts in helping that be very successful. But we also have others to thank, including Liz Bermudez and others inside the building that make that event successful. So all in all, it was just a great day and a great event. 912, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman. Aye. Mr. Green. Aye. Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mrs. Wiles. Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Final item under this section, 913, Resolution 23-104, a resolution to accept the streets and drainage improvements in Homestead at Carter Station subdivision, Section 4, 1A, 1B, and 2 and 3 for ownership maintenance. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman. Aye. Mr. Green. Aye. Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mrs. Wiles. Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Final section 10, ordinances. Item 10.1, second consideration of ordinance 4484, an ordinance for the abandonment of a right-of-way being a portion of property off Windy Boulevard between lots 20A and 21A, and authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver a quitclaim deed to the property owner. Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item 10.1? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman. Aye. Mr. Green. Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved on second consideration. Next item, 10.2, first consideration, ordinance 4485 to amend the fiscal year 23-24 budget, ordinance 4464, providing for revisions to the general and capital projects funds and establish the date of January 11, 2024 as the date of public hearing. It's been moved and properly seconded. Item 10.2, any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman. Aye. Mr. Green. Aye. Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 10.3, first consideration of ordinance number 4486, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia by rezoning tax map 89E, Group F, parcels 1.01 and 1.02, located off Morningside Lane from Neighborhood Large Character District to General Urban Character District and established January 11, 2024 as the date of public hearing. This is Ward 3. And we have one individual who signed up to speak on this item, Gerald Vick. Mr. Vick.
Good evening. I'm Gerald Vick with WS Engineers. I'm representing the property owners for this project. In light of the information we received about the project that the Development Services staff is bringing through in order to allow a development to be zoned similar to the remaining properties zoning in the same subdivision, we would like to ask that the council take the project and defer it, and until that comes through, the change comes through, and then at that point, would you consider approving it as a CD3?
All right, so your request is for a deferral, but the deferral request would presumably be for likely multiple deferrals because, I mean, the trajectory of that is, so I guess, Mr. City Attorney, I mean, it seems like normally we're only allowed to defer thing for 1 month's meeting.
You're only allowed to defer it at 1 month at a time, but I mean, they can repeat the request. I think it's a legitimate request so that it will match up with the new change, but they would need to repeat the request next month.
So there's no really more efficient process to allow them to come back other than each month just requesting the deferral.
The only other thing would be to withdraw it and to refile once the new change takes place.
So I assume you're trying to avoid that.
Right. We see it as being an opportunity to, if we can defer it, I think we would be back on in February, which would be the second reading of the change request that Development Services is going to be bringing before. And so it would be a deferral this month and a deferral in January for that. And we'd be glad to come back for that.
Yeah, my understanding is they have had discussions with the department and they have made the calculations, and it would be about a month or two shorter to do it this route than it would be the other way. And that's the reason they're making this request. Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Vick?
correct.
And I totally trust you, Mr. Vick, as always, but I just want to make sure that Mr. Keltner, if you don't mind, Mr. Massey, that sounds accurate and that the request that would make the change is currently on its way to council for first consideration in January.
Yes, sir. That's assuming some things there. Well, we're talking about a comprehensive plan that this commission has not seen yet. So your first view of that will be January. Any delays in that would then prolong the deferral route for this as well. So I don't want to make this as an automatic thing. We still need to actually go through the process of looking at our general plan and making sure everybody's comfortable with the recommendation from Planning Commission from that. But Mr. Vick is correct. A deferral in January would put it back on your February. Today in January would put it on your February agenda, which hypothetically could be the second and last reading for the comprehensive plan and be the first reading for this plan.
And that's a best case scenario. If the
Yes, sir.
plan
That is
goes
correct.
through,
Yes, sir.
So there may be another extension required or deferral, but it sounds like,
Yes,
Mr. Vick, you're aware of that pitfall that could be, and this is still a better track for you. So, okay, I just wanted to clarify because I know sometimes, maybe more so on the Planning Commission level, we get a little, reluctant to just constantly provide deferrals. But however, this may be an example of where it's probably the most appropriate situation.
And the other thing Mr. Vick is asking for is a different category from what this original request is.
I know. So, what do you say about that?
We also had this discussion today. The zoning ordinance permits that. It permits you all to approve a request, to deny a request, or to modify the initial request to a less dense zoning. You cannot make it into a more dense zoning.
Right.
In practice, what you all have done more often than not is refer that back to the Planning Commission. So that is you all's discretion. You can either, since it is in a request for a new zoning category, you have the discretion to go ahead and approve that, or you have the discretion to refer that back to the Planning Commission to consider that, which would also throw a wrench into Mr. Vick's calculation. And if they did withdraw and send it back to the Planning Commission, I would assume they would send it back at that new zoning request. So, we want to be upfront with everybody on all of these different factors. So that item is up to you all's discretion.
I think I have two that want to speak, Mr. Coleman and then the Vice Mayor.
I was going to ask whether or not, in my opinion, it might be prudent for Mr. Keltner to kind of explain a little bit more to all of council, since you and I have the benefit of being there, kind of what is weird about this particular, or what we're trying to do here.
Sure. So what is coming for you in January is dealing with your Connect Columbia, your comprehensive plan. And in this particular case, it's dealing with the urban neighborhood designation, which currently is centered toward more density, more mixture of uses inside the core of your city. The thought process in the one that you will be seeing in January has added a clause in there for a CD3. So there was some fear that we were mixing too heavily in existing neighborhoods, or potentially to change existing neighborhoods into something character that maybe they're not today. So that does give the right for Planning Commission to go to a more single family based zoning when it's compatible to the area. So it doesn't automatically push it to a CD4, which is the case today. So Mr. Vick and his client is essentially CD4, which is what you're looking at today as what would be required to be rezoned to under your current Connect Columbia. So the pause in the process is to allow Connect Columbia the request from Planning Commission, recommendation from Planning Commission that would allow the CD3, which then allows the applicant to request the CD3 instead of the CD4 portion of that. I would like to add, though, if you do feel as though Planning Commission or you have the idea that you might like to see Planning Commission vote on a CD3 versus a CD4 that they had, it would, in order for a time frame to keep moving, it would need to be done today so that we can take to Planning Commission in January. We'll add a comprehensive plan amendment to that in order for them to see that. Then it comes back to this body in February with that recommendation for the CD3.
I would make a motion to do that. I feel like what we're doing here is good, and it is a little bit weird and clunky, but this is what I think we have to do in order to get our new zoning ordinance where it needs to be. Just like software, we have to do patches and fixes. I think this is kind of one of those.
So I'm sorry, what was your motion?
I guess, I want to make sure I state it correctly. I guess we need to kick it back to Planning Commission essentially to reevaluate it under the different zoning, correct?
Well, as Mr. Tischer stated, you have two options here. If you have the right to approve a lesser zoning, which the CD3 would be. Historically, the commission, though, has sent it back to Planning Commission for affirmation from that body and how they would see the CD3, since it's a different request. If you're feeling, though, you want to do that route, then we would need to keep the same time frame, go ahead and do that at this meeting.
In other words, that keeps them having to go back to Planning Commission in January, basically avoids us having to defer it in January, and they'll be back in February anyway.
Yes, sir. It'd be able to CD3 with a comp plan amendment in February, but you would end up dropping that comp plan amendment in March if the second reading passes for Connect Columbia in February.
And it keeps them from coming in here in February and then you all deferring it back to the planning commission.
That's
and
correct.
them having to wait either longer.
That's correct.
May I? My only concern with that was if they didn't approve the comp plan amendment, but if it got approved then and then y'all could drop it later, then that would be okay. But it is, I don't think the planning commission would have a problem approving it as CD3, but I was a little concerned about the comp plan amendment part.
Vice Mayor, you had something.
I commend for Paul then for putting in this language to correct this problem, because that was what at the study session, that's what I came up with. And I thank Gerald and the applicant for listening to our concerns. We're not having to turn down CD4 and then they have to start all over. And I commend them for listening to that, because the whole street needs to be CD3, just continuing on. But I don't want them to lose any more time. So I know it's unusual, but I don't see a problem with deferring it myself, because it's going to already go to, I can't assume anything, Plan Commission, but they're trying to do the right thing. So I was trying to think to help them out, not lose a month or two.
Yeah, I was inclined to think that the same, but then, essentially, if they do get kicked back to Planning Commission in January, that allows Planning Commission to review it at CD3. That allows it to then come back here in February on first consideration, so that they're going to be back in February anyway.
Correct. It'd be the same time frame. To Mr. Vick's point, that Planning Commission may say they don't agree with that recommendation. It would still come back before this body with a recommendation of denial of the comprehensive plan amendment in the CD3.
So I guess the question is do we want to send it back down to Planning Commission under that trajectory, or do we just want to wait, let it stay here?
My concern is always the historical preference of what we've done in the past and trying to be consistent. And consistency goes to the side of sending it back to the Planning Commission. That is the way you all have acted in the past when you have considered a different zoning category, is sending it back. And quite frankly, we are considering, we've had discussions with planning to recommend to the Planning Commission considering amending this ordinance to take out that option of zoning down at council, and if council wishes to zone down, to make an automatic referral back to the planning commission. Because that's what you all have historically done, and that way it would be mandatory to refer it down, and there wouldn't be the risk of treating one person one way and another person another way.
I think here, Mr. Vick, if I thought I was going to lose you a lot of time, I'd probably be willing to make a little bit of an exception to the rule just because of the reasons the vice mayor's pointed out. But I think because of what the city attorney has said, in light of the fact I think you're not really going to be losing any months, it may require you to go sit through a planning commission meeting. But good for you; you normally are there anyway. So,
and he could actually save time.
Right. Somehow or the other, getting behind this instead of in front of it actually will probably be better for you. All right. So any other, we don't have a motion on the floor. Mr. Coleman, did you want to make a motion?
Well, so then I guess I want to try to make sure I've arrived at the same conclusion. Our plan then is to send it back to planning commission to be reevaluated as 3.
Since Mr. Vick, the way I would look at this is since Mr. Vick has made a request for a different zoning category, would be to refer this back to the planning commission to review it at the request for the different zoning category.
So, Mr. Vick, would you mind the zoning category that you would like, that you're wanting us to reevaluate planning commission?
Is CD3.
CD3. So then, my motion would then be for us to send this back to planning commission to reevaluate under CD3. Correct.
Yes.
All right.
All right. It's a proper motion. It's been made. A second on that motion. Been seconded. Any further discussion on motion to send item 10.3 to planning commission for review at CD3? All right. Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom?
No.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.3 is referred to planning commission. Next item, 10.4, first consideration of ordinance 4488, providing for the collection of 2022 delinquent property taxes.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Item 10.6, first consideration of ordinance 4489, an ordinance providing for the collection of 2020, 2021, and 2022 delinquent personal property taxes.
10.5.
Been moved and properly seconded. Item 10.5. Did I misstate that, Mr. Jablonski?
Yeah, this is 10, we're on 10.5.
Okay. If I didn't say 10.5, I meant to say 10.5 on first consideration, which has been moved and properly seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. And the final consideration of an ordinance for the year 2023, 10.6, first consideration of ordinance number 4490, an ordinance providing for the collection of 2022 delinquent special assessments.
Move for approval.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next section, 11, other business. Any member of council wish to be heard? Vice Mayor.
This is my first year. I've gone through a year, and even though we don't all agree on everything, I do thank the department heads for everything they've done. They've always called me back. They listen to my talking, and it's always been great conversations, and I appreciate that for them. I appreciate the third floor, Liz, and all y'all up there. You've treated me great. You listened to my whining about the computer. You've taken care of me. Second floor is taking care of me on the computer, and the first floor, Paul, as always, when I walk through, I end up talking to you for 20 minutes when I do come in there, and I appreciate y'all doing that. But most of all, Mr. Massey and Thad and this council. Since I've gone on council, I read everybody else's. This is a great council. I mean, y'all's heart is in this council, and that's what matters. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other other business? Anyone wish to be heard? I have just a couple things. Since our last meeting in November, a couple things that have happened. One, 2 weeks ago, as many of you know, Mr. Massey and myself traveled to Nashville along with Mayor Butt and our legislative delegation to meet with TDOT, Tennessee Department of Transportation, to discuss the Bear Creek highway widening project. It was a good conversation because we were able to discuss a number of things related to Columbia and road and traffic improvements. I should say also that Glenn Harper was with us at that meeting as well. Tomorrow, I'll be participating in a conference call with the TDOT commissioner and others on the governor's staff where we may hear some initial confirmation of what projects will be funded through the state partnership grant, which is the funding entity that we are seeking the Bear Creek Pike Grant announcement. So that is tomorrow. I will certainly keep council and everyone who's paying attention on that updated and noted. I also want to say, since we last met, we have had a member of our community pass away that has meant a lot to our community over the years, Mr. Wayman Hickman, who everyone in this room and those watching will know who Wayman Hickman was and what he meant to our community. Very few people have done as much for and meant as much to our community as Wayman Hickman did over his many years of serving various capacities. And so I think because of what he gave to and meant to Columbia, it was worth pointing out that from this podium tonight, from the mayor and all of this city council, a debt of gratitude. I did receive, by the way, a card from Helen Hickman that was thanking the city of Columbia for remembering Wayman by sending some flowers to the funeral. And so she wanted me to express her gratitude on behalf of the family. I would also like to point out that we had a very successful Christmas parade. As we mentioned last week, there are a lot of departments that are involved in that, a lot of volunteers also, including the Columbia Main Street Board, who make that event such a success. So we appreciate everyone that was involved in that. Also, the employee Christmas lunch yesterday was just a fun time had by all. I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, but it was a good event and a lot of employees there. And I feel like there was a lot of just happy and good positive spirit and vibes. And I appreciate all the work that went into that. Thanks to all the department heads as well who have stuck with us and continue to do good things. I feel as though there's a lot of momentum that we have right now. There's a lot of conversations that we've been having lately regarding some things, particularly related to retail, as Mayor Dickey pointed out. We need more retail, and I think there are some things that we'll see in 24 that will make him proud and all of us proud as well. Any other business for the good of council? Anyone else wish to be heard? If not, there's no need for an executive session, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved properly. Second, any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski, please take the roll.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? And Mayor Mulder.
Aye, we are adjourned.